What's going on, all? I really wasn't going to say too much, but figured I would because the way everybody's acting, God. Well, at least it's good to see some of them start getting along a little bit. Uh, but I found more stuff that leads to that the chest was in Santa Fe more than it was in Wyoming. Well, I know there's a lot more evidence that it was in Santa Fe because the 8.25 miles, the below 10,200 and above 5,000, it was in between. Ski Santa Fe is 10,200 feet. And I think San Lazario, I don't know where it's at, but San Lazario is a good point for what Forrest is saying in this chase. The city was abandoned. And why was it abandoned? Because of water. The water, they didn't have water. That's the only thing I can think of. Or could have been disease, could have been a lot of things. But the main thing is usually water. And Santa Fe is built up around a water system that was taking place. And it's an acequia. And there's over 900 of them they're still using today here in the United States. There's even a town called Acequia, Colorado. But, Troy, you didn't check into, I heard you say it on one of your shows about the acequia madre, and you tried to explain what it did, but you weren't too thorough on it. What the acequia madre does is it takes and gives water out down from the press, is what they call the dam on an acequia. An acequia is made by the Spanish. They made them for thousands of years, and they call their dams presses. But it's still all part of the acequia. And that one is the acequia madre. It's the biggest one in all of New Mexico. And it was put in, and I've heard two different dates that I've read, and it was from 1607 and then 1680 something. But the one, the acequia madre, I think it was put in 1607. It was started and put in. And since then, everybody has built up around the acequia. And that's where a lot of the trees and growth you're going to get in the green from the water, from the acequia. And Fenn galleries, or no matter who owns the property and stuff, the gallery, it gets water that way. And the pond in the backyard or lake or whatever you want to call it is a cistern, more or less, to hold the water for the property. That's why he had a thing about river bathing is best and all that, because you don't want to bathe in the water before or any time in that water. Now, you can take the water out and use it for bathing, but not bathe in the water itself, because that's for feeding the animals, for watering plants, gardens, everything else, for everyday use. But you don't want to bathe in it. You can take the water out of it and bathe with the water, yes. And that is one of the biggest parts of the story, that is the acequia madre. And every so many years, if you get water from the acequia when it flows and it comes to your property, you can ask the mayordomo the Maradomo of the acequia madre, and find out with an acequia madre the waters. If there was an island, I'm sure it's the same property owner that it's on, but if you got water surrounding that island from the acequia, I'm sure it's considered a little different, but I don't think they handle it anything different. But the acequia gives everybody water all the way down through, and it comes down and follows Canyon Road a long ways. But it splits off, and they got their drops where it's an area where it fills up like another dam. And then they got so many gates, and they can release the water whichever way they want to release it to take water to different places. So every so many years, whoever owns the property, either got to go through an engineer, architect, and have them draw the map from the presa to the property and show which way it goes and comes down through all the drops and everything. I don't know how many drops are from where the acequia madre, where the presa is, which is on Upper Canyon Road, way up there, up by, I think it's a 4 Mile Reservoir. There's McClure Reservoir, a couple other ones too. There's 2 Mile Reservoir, I think there was, but that is on Upper Canyon Road up there. Forrest starts out. If you want to start going over the poem, as I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold, and keep my secret where, with hints of riches new and old. Okay, that line right there, he's talking about going into his gallery. Now, clear your heads of any other thoughts you've had about anything you've thought about the treasure, because this is totally, if you start thinking about when I'm telling you something, it might confuse you. So don't think about Forrest Fenn's treasure. Think of this as a new way to look at it, which it is. But Forrest Fenn, think of him walking into his gallery, as I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold. Because he ain't going to use his house for this. He has to have a neutral place, which was the gallery. No one thinks he had any part of ownership in it, which I think he still had 25%, because he had a power of attorney. So that means he could put it on that island at the gallery in the courtyard, which in 2022 in the summer, the family and Cynthia Meacham was invited. They had the celebration of life for Forrest at the gallery in the courtyard. There's pictures of it and everything. I'm sure everybody's seen all the pictures. Why would they have that there if we're looking for where he wanted to die? Wouldn't that be, if they're having a celebration of life there, that is where he wanted to die? And I put that out there, but no one seems to, it never bothers nobody, on that. But also, Trove. Let's go over Trove. Why must I go and leave my trove for all to seek? Now, I didn't know about this until just a month or so ago. Troy was talking about it and talking about trove. And so I went to Google and I put a definition of trove. The definition of trove is a store that has valuable and desirable things. Just Google it. You can see it. A store that has... So you're looking for his store. He says all these stories are about him. They're not the same people, not the same times, not the same places, but these stories are all about him. And almost all the stories in that book, besides him, My War for Me and stuff like that, or besides when he was a kid, is about the gallery. Where did Teachers with Ropes? To the gallery. Where did his dad sitting on the banco? At the gallery. him and Peggy getting a picture taken with a homely girl. Yes, smile at a homely girl. Now getting their picture taken with a homely girl. Excuse me. Um, and if you start off saying, yeah, he start because you got to start the poem somewhere. You got to start from a physical place. So he's going to start at the gallery. As I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold, and keep my secret where? Now, where does he keep his secret? In the best place with all his other treasures. There's treasures all over there. But it's going to have to sit off by itself to where you're going to need a title to take it out, actually. Because no one knows about this unless, just except for Forrest. There is no trails on the island. If he hasn't gone back to the island, he hasn't been back to the spot as long as he hasn't stepped foot on that island. He could be 12 foot away from it and see that it's okay. He knows it's there. And where'd he spend most of his time in 2019, 2020? He was at the gallery. I asked them. They said they were surprised that I didn't catch him there because he was there all the time. So anyway, that's what gets me is because he had the perfect place to put it without anybody going to find it accidentally. Because you ain't going to cross that water and get on that island unless you know for sure there's something on that island. And who's going to know? And I even watched videos of the gallery, Nidra Matisse, and I didn't watch too many of Fenn, but the newer ones with Nidra Matisse, people were going around that island, and one guy I heard him say, "Oh, there's Forrest Fenn's treasure chests." Oh, chestesses, because he said there's two chests. There's two wood boxes on there, and they said duck box on them with a hole cut up kind of high, which kind of funny to me because all the ducks are going to fly south. Well, I don't know how much farther south they're going to fly, 5,000 feet. Anyway, with he had the perfect place to put it. He was there. There was no way he's going to put it in Wyoming, not that chest. He had a hard time putting it there on the island. But everybody's going to say, oh, well, no, that's a man-made, whatever, a man-made structure or whatever. I don't see it as that. It's a treasure hunt. There is no buildings. Most time islands are made naturally. Yes, he might have made it. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure he did make that island. And I think there's another one even on there, but it was covered in that tall, thin grass or whatever that's pretty tall. But on that island at the base of that tree, yes, there was a box with a piece of aluminum. I've got a picture of it. And the aluminum has the edges all rolled down to knock the water off that hit it. And what he found on that tombstone and everything, it was, picked it up, said something about smile at a homely girl and whatever else it said, but he said it always etched into his mind. So I knew that was the spot, but yeah, and as I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold and keep my secret where with hints of riches new and old, begin it where warm waters halt. Now, this is kind of hard because I was all the way up to Canada, back, going back again up there, mostly in Wyoming. But I found something at one time, and it was the road that's out there, the corner of Acequia Madre Road and Paseo de Puerta Road. And I Googled the Acequia Madre, and it told me, and I Googled what it was. And it was a canal system that comes, and that water from the acequia feeds the pond that's in the backyard or lake or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so I Googled that, and it told me where the beginning was, and it was what it was called and all that. And I was up at the dam, and it's a They call it a pressa, but the dams are done by sheep. Like a sheep, they'd pack the dirt in on the pressa by sheep and stuff. If you ever heard of a sheep's foot, that's what a lot of them call in construction or whatever, that pack dirt. So there's your dam that's not called a dam, is the pressa from the acequia madre. All right. If you start off, begin it where warm waters halt. Okay, the acequia madre, the pressa, is about a little over 4 miles from the gallery. And Fenn talked about you have to have enough fuel to get there and back. So whatever the mileage is there, you got to double it. So, but you're also going north to find it. But when you find it, you still haven't gone your 8 miles, but you still ain't gonna. You're just gonna go by the poem. It says begin it, so you got to begin it. So begin it there. Begin it where warm waters halt. Take it in the canyon down. The closest road that you can find by following that water would be Upper Canyon Road. Take it in the canyon down. So you're going from Upper Canyon to Canyon Road. There is no Lower Canyon. Take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Okay, now this comes in handy later. So you're going down Canyon Road, going west, more or less. And you're going west. Not far, but too far to walk. So you're changing following a water to following a road. It changes over. That's why he wrote a book about not far, but too far to walk. Because what you're going to do is now you're going to change anything over to roads that you travel on. Okay, not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. Okay, from there, there's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. Okay, that means the end is ever drawing nigh. That means you pass the home of Brown on Canyon Road. The end is ever drawing nigh. You're going to hit the end of Canyon Road, where Canyon Road ends, and you're going to make a left. And then you're going to go that way for just a spell or whatever you want to call it, just a little bit. You make a left. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Now this shows that it confirms that you're on the right path and everything else. Because the next street you're coming up to is Acequia Madre Road. What did you start off with? The Acequia Madre. Okay, at the pressa. So you're Acequia Madre. There'll be no paddle up your creek. So you just get a map out and check it out. The Upper Canyon, Canyon Road, down, and Canyon Road ends. You make a left. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Is Acequia Madre Road. It's the gallery sitting right on the corner. Acequia Madre and Paseo de Puerta. Just heavy loads and water high. Now, where's your water high there? You'd have to go in the backyard of the gallery to find waters high and heavy loads. Or all this bronze statues in the courtyard. All right? Heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze. Now, if you've been wise and found the blaze, that means when you found the home of Brown, because that's how you find out what the blaze is. And the home of Brown. And that's when you find out what the home of Brown actually is, too. So, if you take and I ain't going to say too much about the home of Brown. I've got you to the gallery, all right? And the poem takes you straight to the gallery. Let's finish that, and then I can tell you the home of Brown and why it's there. But if you've been wise and found the blaze, that means you found the blaze before, which is at the home of Brown. That's how you found the home of Brown, which I can tell later or whatever. Okay, so if you've been wise, found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. I can tell you what the blaze is. It's a chestnut tree. The only one on the island. That's horse chestnut tree. That is the blaze. I can tell you about the other part later, but okay. And everybody says, oh, the blaze was broke. And they're talking about a fake blaze. Jack thought that the box that the chest was in, supposedly, it fell apart when he picked it up. The box did. It just fell apart. So when the box fell apart, he thought that was the blaze. So they thought he damaged the blaze. But really it's the tree that's the blaze. Because that's how you find the Homer Brown. You actually don't need the Homer Brown, but the Homer Brown shows that you are going in the right direction, and it confirms it. If you be wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So you're at the gallery, so they don't want you to make a big scene about it and everything else. Just take it and go in peace. All right? So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. That means you got to cross the water. But the water ain't really cold. It's really nice, because I went across the water. But I screwed up. Anyway. If you've been... Okay, let's go back. I have to get back to where I was. If you go wise and found the blood, down and quest I must go and leave my trove. So why must I go and leave my trove for all to seek? You're seeking his store to get to the backyard, to get to the island where the treasure is. It was the safest place to put it for him. It was along with all the other treasures. The treasures of the bronze elephant, I think, had a price tag of $800,000 on it. But who's going to come in and walk off with it? He talks about the elephants and the ants. There's elephants there. There's bears. There's all kinds of, bronze animals. Horses. Eagle with his wings out. And so on. But there is water you have to cross. It come up to about here on me. Of course, I'm short, too. Anyway, it come up to almost my shoulders. And I got in the water and back through the gallery and out of there without, I think, them noticing. Not unless I left foot tracks, but I tried to dry off as good as I could before I went back through there. But anyway, yeah, I know he said that him and the finder agreed it was found in Wyoming. But he was protecting the gallery. If you get so many people in there, everybody's going to want to cross the water and go onto the island. Well, look at Ben and Cynthia, just to name a few that I seen go across, the Madison River. And that looked pretty good. I could have probably crossed it, but yeah, but it's dangerous. I mean, it can be real dangerous, especially if you're in waders and the waders fill up. But Forrest would not have hid this in Wyoming and have someone find it and drive it straight to New Mexico. Because why did Jack leave it in New Mexico then? Because if I'd have found it in Wyoming, it'd have stayed at a bank in Wyoming in a safety deposit box, of course, or whatever. But there's no way Jack would drive with that much gold and stuff to Santa Fe in his car. I don't think he'd do it. And we can find out later. But the gallery is the one place that I can't believe no one could. They don't even want to listen to it. Oh, because it was in Spanish? No, it wasn't in Spanish. He did Spanish class. That was one of the hints. The other hints was the backyard in the back of the school, the fire escape. It was in the back of the school. He was in the backyard taking pictures with his goat, or not his goat, but his cow. A lot of pictures were taken in the backyard. And some of the pictures, like when they showed the house and the house burned down and they just showed just the stairs, but you could see all the way back. But the fire escape thing, why didn't they show a picture of the fire escape? Because you'd have to go in the backyard to see for yourself. Everybody, I'm pretty dang sure that was the solve. There might be a few things left out of it that I haven't found, but I found a lot of stuff, but I know there's a lot more to find. And there's a lot more other stuff, come up. Because I keep getting woke up here and there. Bam. Oh, that's why he did this. Oh, why? That's why. Okay. It just starts hitting you. But the gallery is the one place. If you think it's not, you're crazy, because it was the perfect place. If you've been through that backyard, you know what I'm talking about, through that courtyard. And the people he walked by, that treasure that had walked back there in the courtyard with him, that he is doing interviews with, that is kind of funny, really. And someone's trying to get information, he's walking them right by the treasure. But anyway, everybody, I thought I'd let you know that, and I'll come out with something else here coming up. But it's going to come up soon to where it's the only place it could be. And Shiloh and them, I don't think, know the poem. I don't think Forrest would tell them. And if Jack didn't know the poem and he just knew, oh, it was on the island at the gallery, and he went and just luckily, he went onto the island and found it. Because you'd have to go on the island to find it. But anyway, I just don't see Shiloh knowing the whole poem. Because Shiloh told me in less than 2 sentences that it was in 2 different places in Wyoming, and that he should have just stuck with one of them. Cody, and what was the other one? Starts with a K. Kerwin. But I know better than that. He should know. No. But anyway, I don't expect anything. I'm not expecting that the treasure chest or nothing like that. No, I just saw it. And Dave, I was telling Dave Woodward, I said, Dave, you better watch what you're talking about, because Forrest didn't have to use Superman. He used the acequia, and he's going to make it famous. He's going to revolutionize a lot of stuff. I guarantee you something's going to happen with this many people knowing what an acequia is. Because I kind of knew what it was. I just didn't know what they called it. I didn't know it was called an acequia. But it means bearer of water, or a couple other things. But the acequia, the gallery, most of the stories in the book are about the gallery. I start reading back through there again, and it's like bam, bam, bam. But if you get a map out, or Google Earth Santa Fe, and start at Upper Canyon Road and start the poem, when you get down to the end is ever drawing nigh, Canyon Road to the end, make a left. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. Yeah, you're at the gallery. He did a good job on it, of course. He's a great advertiser. And I've been trying to tell you all this before it was even found. I was telling you that you can't find it on a regular map. You're not going to find the acequia on a regular map. You need a map. And the new and the old, that could work a lot of ways for Santa Fe. He's talking about the water system, the old water system and the new water system. But he could also be talking about the Capitol, because Santa Fe has the oldest Capitol building and the newest Capitol building. It's got the only round Capitol building in the United States. What else? There's a bunch of it to it, but and the Capitol building straight across the street almost from the gallery. And Troy's right about the road, which there was no Paseo de Puerta, but that it ain't even mentioned in the poem. It just says, the end is ever drawing nigh, there'll be no paddle up your creek. Just get you going left, and it was also Acequia Madre Road there. It used to be called Manhattan, like Troy was talking about. And it said, now if that was Manhattan, and at the light there coming across the street to the gallery or going away from the gallery, where could he have been? He could have been in the gallery by the time he died, if he wouldn't have had to wait on that light on Manhattan. Anyway, But also the Gardner Island. That is, anybody gone and checked that out up there at the top of New York, Staten Island, or whatever the hell it is. But the I found that Gardner's Island, and you bring it in, and it's got Captain Kidd, oh, whatever it is. But it's also got an island. It's got a pond on the island that has an island in the pond. So you got an island with a pond or a lake with an island in that. That's kind of funny, huh? An island within an island. But double omegas, it starts at the gallery, it ends at the gallery. And he didn't think anybody was going to figure it out. But when I emailed him years ago, I don't know how long it took him to figure it out, but I emailed him 3 times by accident, and it was the same email. It was the first email I ever done. I sent it to him, and I accidentally sent him to him 2 or 3 times after that, but I never got back to him. I told him, I'd get back to you when I head that way to come out to Santa Fe, but I never contacted him when I went out to Santa Fe. But I got his phone number when I was there, and I tried to call, but I didn't want to really bother him. So, but because the people at the gallery said that he had to come down and tell them that it wasn't on that property, and so I wanted to ask him straight out if he had to come down and tell anybody that, because it might not have been on the property, but on the island. The island he took with him. So. But to go on with it, so I just found out about that, about the definition of trove. There's a couple other things I just found out too, but anyway, that is the main part of it. Now you know Forrest, Fenn, salt. And it starts at the gallery, it ends at the gallery. The acequia madre is the waters. And he even says that on page, what page is it? He talks about it when him and Donnie are looking for Lewis and Clark. Forrest describes acequia to a T. He even takes it all the way down to where the water goes through, or only water can go through. You know, the walls get steeper. He's talking about an acequia. So anyway, following the acequia, and then it turns the road, because not too far to walk is a big deal, because you're changing it from water to a road. So acequia madre, there'll be no paddle up your creek, because it's a road. It ain't a creek no more. He changing it over. So anyway, I hope I got the comments on, so everybody can either leave me a bad note, good note, whatever, and just leave a note or whatever what you think. But it is about the gallery. If you read the book and notice it and look at the pictures, and it's about the gallery and the water, and that's what he wants to know. And the Homer Brown, he's advertising more or less Canyon Road, the whole Canyon Road, from Upper Canyon all the way down to the end, advertising all that with other galleries, so on. So anyway, he did a good job on it, but it ain't as gonna be as a movie ending that some people think it's gonna be. It's just talking about the waters and a lot more. All right, guys, you guys have a good night. All right, bye.